Hello, Zoom and other stay-at-home stocks are in the news today. I also wanted to update my price target for Zoom given some new financial data from them. Now, specific to Zoom in the news today is that they have settled with the FCC. So the idea here, to give you some background, is that Zoom, they claimed they were using 26-bit encryption, but they actually weren't. They kind of secretly installed some software that affected the Safari browser, and just in general, that their security practices didn't line up with what they were telling customers. So a complaint was filed, and they recently settled with the FCC. Basically, the idea here is they have to establish a comprehensive security program. They have to do things to protect against unauthorized users accessing meetings. Um, then they need to regularly kind of review their software updates to make sure there's no security flaws. Now, one thing that they didn't or aren't required to do, or they're not agreeing to do, there's no direct thing in there that says they directly need to protect user privacy. So that's not part of the settlement, unfortunately, in my opinion. But because of these things, you know, Zoom is down in the news today. But there's also something else going on here for all stay-at-home stocks. So uh, year to date, these stocks have been on an absolute tear, Zoom included. But today, we there was some news out there that Pfizer has announced that they have a vaccine that is 90% effective at triggering an immune response, and because of that, all of these stay-at-home stocks are down sharply today. And some are down, like Peloton is down more than Zoom, despite Zoom's additional settlement news. But those stocks are down today. Now, I find this a little bit surprising, and at the same time, I don't find it surprising. Now, I don't think there's any of us who didn't think a vaccine was eventually coming. It was just a question. The uncertainty surrounded the timing. Now, there was a small chance that maybe there would never be an effective vaccine for this coronavirus, but I think in general there was a high degree of confidence that it would eventually happen. So that should have already been built into the price of these stocks, but clearly it wasn't. Or at least the reaction today suggests that it wasn't. I find that a little bit surprising, but that's the way it goes. Now, I did want to update my price target on Zoom. Now, I did kind of a really quick analysis on this and explained it better in this video here. You can follow, but the idea was that kind of based on Verizon and AT&T and T and what Verizon had paid for Blue Jeans, and looking at the revenue streams and whatnot, that Zoom had a fair valuation kind of relative to these other companies of $1.17. Okay. But I wanted to update that. So a couple updates here. So there is some, current consensus in terms of what revenues would be. I based that $1.16 based on this 622 million revenue, but there's the consensus out there is the next 12 months is going to be 1.3 billion. If that's the case, then I would value Zoom at $2.52. But they also themselves reported third quarter numbers, which were really pretty nice. And if I kind of extrapolate that out, then that would give it a price of $4.48. Now, that being said, this is contingent upon them being able to continue to, have those revenue numbers after this crisis, this pandemic is over. But either way, versus a current price of $440, this kind of best case scenario price, in my opinion, this 448 is considerably lower than the current market value. So I would argue that Zoom is still absolutely crazily overvalued. Now, of course, do your own analysis, but that's the whole thing. Do an analysis. Don't buy a stock on the hype. Actually do the analysis. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed that. We will talk again soon.